Okay, Madam Mayor, we are live streaming and recording and ready to go.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I now call the regular meeting back to order at 8:20, 8:30. Mine is different here, so I'll say 8:30 p.m. Okay, we will now vote on a motion to appoint.
We're gonna vote.
That's what it says to go to, right?
Don't we need a motion? What do you want me to vote?
We just went through that. Councilmember Cleveland.
I'd like to motion to appoint David Lopez to City Council position number 1 with term expiring December 31, 2025. Is that correct? Since after the election, someone's supposed to replace him, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Do I leave that date or
They may.
No,
they may?
they may replace before December 31st.
So according to
I think that's when the term ends and you leave it there because the certification of the election can drag on. So
Okay.
they may not end up serving that long, but that's how long the term is. And I would like to second the motion.
Okay, I have another technical question, sorry. On what I'm reading here, there's no call for a second. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so we have a first and a second motion for Mr. Lopez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, all right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. We will now, actually, what am I looking at here, Mary Elizabeth? All right. The ayes have it, the motion is passed. Please join us in welcoming Councilmember Lopez, who is now the newest city council member, position number 1.
It's just a mess.
Do we hand in your assignment?
Thank you. No. At all.
Take an oath. I've never given an oath, so we're just gonna
Okay.
do our best, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so please raise your right hand. Put your hand over here. Okay. Okay. I, Eldon David Lopez,
I, Eldon David Lopez,
do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States
do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States
and of the state of
and
Washington,
the state of Washington,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of the office of the city councillor for the city of College Place
of the duties of this office of the city councillor for the city of College Place,
according to the law and the best of my ability.
according to the law and the best of my ability.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then just for the record, none of us got to read ours. We had to go word by word to say that, so. Just
I remember messing mine up until I just asked to read it from the paper.
We all did.
All right. Gentlemen, Mr. Green, Mr. Hay, thank you so much for interviewing and for being here for part of the process. Have a good night.
David, you can sit with us if you want to sit on the.
All right, let's move on to other action items on our agenda, which are 6 more items. So let's welcome Mr. Spencer Montgomery, who will present the final comprehensive roadway safety action plan. Mr. Montgomery, you're on.
Here I am. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I have to send a request.
There you go, Mr. Montgomery.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to take just 30 seconds and say how much I appreciate all the efforts of our elected officials in all of our communities. You guys do amazing work on the side, so to speak. I know it can be a great amount of effort that you put in. So I just appreciate watching the process of you filling your quorum.
Thank you.
You mentioned that I was going to present the final plan. I can do that if you want for the new council member. I was not anticipating to do that. Just a brief summary.
Yes, please. Just a brief summary is fine.
Yeah. So I was with you 3 weeks ago, and I didn't give you a lot of details then either. We have met extensively with your Utilities and Transportation Commission. And just to refresh a little bit here, there are several components to the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, and a leadership commitment, which is the resolution that you have at the end of the presentation here to consider. Planning structure, meeting with your public work staff, the UTAC, I did not list them here, safe stakeholder interviews, considerable safety analysis of the collision history in College Place, an extensive public involvement process, recommendations for policy and process changes. And you guys have some great documents that have previously been prepared that we reviewed and made some recommendations from, some strategy and project selections, and the USDOT grant that funded this study required also a way to monitor progress and transparency. So it requires that you guys have it publicly posted on your web page, things like that. And just a brief update, the UTAC last week reviewed the document, and they had one suggested change. And so I've highlighted that at the bottom here. And that essentially is the very last sentence prior to the appendices under the section of progress and transparency. So they wanted to leave it basically open or make sure that there is the ability for the city to update priorities based upon some of the measuring project progress. And if we find new collision history that occurs in the future coming up, that there's an ability to alter the priorities that are currently listed in this document. And it should be updated every 5 years, according to the USDOT. And a couple of things, I'm just going to flash them at you really, because you've had them in the packet. I assume that you probably saw them, but there's some maps that we prepared in here. This is not all of the collisions, but these are the ones that had the fatality down on Highway 125. And I should mention that the data set is from 2019 to 2023. So the 5 most recent years of data available. The yellow ones are the serious injuries. And you'll notice there are not very many. So College Place is doing very well. The blue ones are minor injuries. Some of the other data, the maps that you'll find in there, this shows what collision types there are. Interesting, the number of fixed object, the yellow ones that you see here. And if you put in parked cars, they're not fixed objects, but that adds a lot. And so there's a lot of the red one are parked cars. And then this also is a map that shows the contributing circumstances to those. And there's a lot of distractions, inattention, which is quite interesting. It does not indicate in the accident data that we have whether cell phones were part of that. Little suspicion on my part there, perhaps. And then because of some of the comments that we received through the public, we did this extra one that shows just the parked cars of the collision types. And you can see quite a few on College Avenue. So we made some recommendations with that to check sight triangles at some of those intersections to make sure that cars aren't parked where they're impeding the view of people that want to get onto College Avenue. And then one last graphic, here's some of the strategies. The city already has an ADA, Americans with Disability Transition Plan. Implement that, and your city staff is doing a good job at adding sidewalks and things like that. Look at sight distance for triangles and vegetation, and then some things about speed and for law enforcement. Speed is very important as far as trying to reduce the number of serious injuries and fatalities. The faster the cars are going, the more likely it is that somebody's going to get seriously injured. That was what I wanted to share with you. So I'm open to any questions that you may have. Other than that, I do have the resolution here that I can pull up on the screen. Or if there's questions that you may have that you'd like to have answered at all.
Councilmember Cleveland, questions?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson, questions or comments?
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez, questions or comments?
Sure. Just one question. When you're looking at the gravity of these, I'm just stepping into this for the first time, but I'm just wondering, are you looking at time of day or weather? Is there any other factors that might be part of these collisions?
We do have that data. We didn't dig quite that deep into them because, quite honestly, there's tables and whatnot in the document that show the intersections and road segments that have the most collisions. And to get like the top 10 intersections, we get down to five collisions over 5 years. So there's not, honestly, I mean, like I say, College Place is doing pretty good overall. There aren't a lot. I forget, we have this statistic in the document, but I forget, but it's considerably lower than the state average. So that data is available. I don't know that there's a lot of trends with respect to whether they occurred at night, during the day, during inclement weather, things like that, because there's just not a ton of collisions. The intersection with the most had a couple dozen over the 5 years.
Great, thank you.
Councilmember Williams?
I would like to first comment that I really appreciate all the work that Spencer did on this plan. I serve on the UTAC and we really pushed him. We made him basically go out and grab people and make them comment. And I have personal knowledge of a fairly severe accident that happened, but it was right after. We don't have that data yet. So figuring out how we could deal with that. And he just has been incredibly patient and willing to go the extra mile. And so I really appreciate it. And I do recommend that we vote to approve this plan.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman?
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle?
I don't have any questions, but I really appreciate the work that went into this. So thanks.
All right. Any additional discussion? All right. Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion, if I can find it here. I would like to move that we adopt resolution number 25-049, which adopts the 2025 City of College Place Roadway Safety Action Plan.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second to adopt resolution 25-049. Any additional discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks for the good words.
Yep, then thank you for your time.
You're quite welcome. Thanks.
All right, you have a good night. All right, next, Mr. Carlton with a contract amendment for the city prosecutor services.
Thank you, Mayor. Since Reed Caldwell left the city, we contracted with Michael Rio from the Rio Foltz law firm, and he represents us on all of our prosecuting cases with the county court system. Since they've taken hold, not the number of cases have not increased, but the time spent on cases has increased, and as such, the district court has added, I believe it's 2 additional days to City of College Place's prosecution docket. That means that under our current contract, there isn't sufficient funding for Mr. Rio to have that level of cases. So we are looking at increasing that by $2,000 a month and extending a month-to-month contract to a 3-year term. Part of the justification for this is that apparently, based on a study that Chief Tamaris did on the conviction rate, we are currently at about 20% conviction rate on misdemeanor cases that go to court. That has resulted in approximately 1,800 misdemeanor cases that have been dismissed by the prior prosecuting attorneys. Mr. Rio has stated to me that moving forward, they've definitely not increased the number of cases, but they are actually pursuing convictions on more cases than prior attorneys. That's resulting in the increased time at the dockets and the number of hours they're spending on each case. I believe Mr. Rio is on the line, so if you have any questions, you could ask now. Thank you.
All right, we'll go through council members for questions or comments. Councilmember Cleveland, excuse me.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Lopez,
No questions.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
Yes, and I understand that Mr. Rio is on the call, but we think that everything's going well and chief and officers are like everything's good. Chief tomorrow, if he's there.
I don't think Chief Tamaris is.
He's got his hand raised.
Yep.
He's on there. Where? Oh, I hear him.
I am here, Mayor. I'm just trying to figure out how to turn my camera on here. Forgive me.
No, it's fine with that.
Mr. Rio is done a fantastic job. He has increased the competency in the prosecutor's office over there. He has also provided training to my officers and just been a very professional individual to work with, and we are very grateful to have him.
Awesome. Thank you, Troy.
And Councilmember Boyle.
No questions. We appreciate the work that you guys have put in to grow what's happening and to make it more effective.
All right. Any additional discussion, questions, or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion for resolution number 25-050?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 25-050, which amends the city prosecutor contract with Rio Foltz PLLC and authorizes the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second, Peterson.
Thank you. We have a first and a second to adopt resolution 25-050. Any additional discussions? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. It's unanimous. The ayes have it and the motion is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Chief Tamaris. We appreciate it.
What is it, John? You wanna-
It was bad timing, John. Sorry. It was just bad timing. All right. All right.
I'm not going to that.
Yes. So moving on, community develop, oh, well, no wonder he needed to take a drink of that. Community Development Director, Mr.
For the
Ricker.
record, it's Dr. Pepper.
It's Dr. Pepper. And he
What
can
did I
take a
say?
drink of his Dr. Pepper. No, I said, no wonder he needed to take a drink
Oh.
of his Dr. Pepper. Is Mr. Rickard and Senior Planner, Mr. Merritt, will present on the Hanley Trust annexation on Northeast Della Avenue.
Clerk, could you allow Michael to share his screen so he can bring up the map? So we have an annexation, and this is up on Della. It's approximately 10,000 square feet. It's a vacant lot that there's a couple of small outbuildings on it, but the applicant, which is Daniel Lynn Hanley Trust, they plan to build either a single family home or a duplex on it. The surrounding zoning is single family residential. That zoning does allow for single family and duplexes and accessory dwelling units on the property. Della is a city street. The east side of the block of Della is in the city limits, and there's this rather large pocket of unincorporated Walla Walla County that we're slowly over the years have been shrinking. The process that we're working through, it's a two-step process. Tonight, what we're asking of you is to decide whether or not you'll accept the annexation as proposed, or if you would modify it. So in some cases, the council has chosen to modify the annexations by expanding it. Generally, if you were to make a decision like that, you would need to have at least 60% of the assessed properties in the area in favor of annexation. And so in this instance, since we just have one property, I wouldn't advise that you try to modify it. I would accept it as is. And then the second thing is whether the city will require the simultaneous adoption of zoning regulations and city. And so, as I mentioned, the zoning would be single family residential. And when it's annexed in, all of our zoning regulations would be applicable to this property. The third is whether the city would require the assumption of all or any portion of existing city indebtedness by the area to be annexed. So that would mean that the property would be subject to any voter approved debt, councilmatic bonds, things like that. There would be things that would come off of their tax assessment. For instance, they would no longer be assessed for like District 4 fire. I think that's mainly it. This is in a green tank water service area, so they would still keep their green tank assessment. The sewer is provided by the city. And then, of course, set a public hearing. The city staff is recommending that September 23rd of 2025 be the date of the public hearing. That'll give us sufficient time to provide notice to within 300 feet of the annexation site and prepare a draft ordinance for the annexation. One of just a housekeeping thing, part of the annexation process is we have to send the application to the county to verify that the applicants are the owners, and that was done, and it came back that yes, indeed, the applicant is the owner. So we're clear there. So there's no resolution to pass, so we just need to record action in the minutes. I don't think that there's anything else to show you map wise. So any questions?
All right, we'll go to Councilmember Cleveland. Questions, comments?
You said there's no motion. We don't motion to accept, or what is do we just say this is okay, or?
Oh, no, I believe I said there was no resolution prepared.
No resolution. Oh, so we just motion to accept 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Do we do that all in one motion?
You can do it all in one
Okay.
motion.
No other questions. Thank you.
Thanks for asking that question for everybody. Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Lopez.
Just to clarify, this sounds like it has your blessing, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've been handling annexations for the city for the last 21 years, and this is pretty
Straightforward. Yeah, it seems like way. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman,
No question.
Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion on this?
I'll take a stab at it. I would move that the city council accept the geographic location of the proposed annexation as described in the annexation legal description of parcel 35-07-25-54-0008. That we require the simultaneous adoption of zoning regulations, that we require the assumption of all portions of existing city indebtedness by the area to be annexed, and that we set a public hearing date of September 23rd, 2025 for the annexation of 325 North Della Avenue.
I'll second.
Very well done. All right. Great, Joey. So we have a first on us and a second to accept the geographic location of the proposed annexation. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you very much, Mr. Merritt. Let's see. Oh, but don't leave yet. Mr. Rickard and Mr. Merritt have a presentation on the Blue Mountain Resource de-annexation on Southwest 12th Street.
Okay. So this is a de-annexation, a little different. We did one of these, I want to say back in 2008 in this neighborhood. This particular piece of property was recently purchased by the Blue Mountain, Walla Walla Land Trust, which is their official LLC name is the Blue Mountain Resource LLC. But they're more commonly known as the Walla Walla Land Trust. And they purchased it in an effort to preserve agricultural lands. This particular piece of property has historically been a farm and currently is being farmed by Hayshaker Farms. And it will remain in an agricultural use. Hayshaker Farms has a long-term lease with the new owners. And one effort to help preserve and take the pressure off of development is to take it out of the city limits. It's roughly 11 and a half acres, basically. The underlying land use is single family, and the zoning is single family. So there has been development pressure over the years. Ryan Llewellyn, who was the previous owner, actually purchased the land with the intention to develop it into single family homes. So I think this is a win for agricultural, tourism type of thing, businesses. This is, Hayshaker Farms is an organic farm. They farm with draft horses. So it's pretty unique. And I think really an asset to College Place. I mean, in that respect, I don't like the idea of it leaving the city of College Place because I think it's kind of cool to say, it's a farm in the city of College Place, but it'll still be, in our area and in our hearts as a College Place business and farm, for sure. There's a lot of benefit from it coming out of the city if it's going to remain in ag, and that because if it's de-annexed, which I assume council will probably move in that direction because this is, a request of the property owner, we will be making, are making a request to the county to reallocate the urban growth area out in this area, which also includes those two properties to the west that were one of them was the Brown property and the other one is the Ferraro property. And when those properties de-annexed a few years back, we required them to agree to a no contest for reallocation of the urban growth boundary. And we'll do the same thing with the trust on this piece, just in case for whatever reason the reallocation doesn't happen here in the near future. We want to make sure that we have that preserved long term. But and the reason for reallocation of the UGA areas is if it's land that there's no intention of developing, we want to put that UGA to good use in other areas of town that have better development potential. There are issues out in this area with providing sewer and I guess I'm getting a little into the weeds on because it's not really applicable to this annexation, but I want to kind of paint a clear picture of why the de-annexation is a good thing for us, and that'll allow us to reallocate some urban growth area to a different part of the city, because we get penalized for underdeveloped lands if we're only allowed so much UGA based on our projected growth, and it's been very challenging to get new UGA. So we're happy to be able to be in a position soon to reallocate this UGA. So stepping back into the de-annexation details, the RCW that's applicable here is 35A 01040, and it's for exclusion of lands from existing city limits. One of the reasons for excluding land from city limits is if it's agriculture related, so it checks that box. It's also on the outskirts. It doesn't create an island or a hole, so we won't have that to deal with. Like for instance, north of there's an island, and so we wouldn't want to create an island in the middle of the city, but we won't be doing that. So what I'm asking for you to do at this meeting is just to set a public hearing date of September 23rd for de-annexation of 328 Southwest 12th. We don't have to worry about the indebtedness or the zoning because the county commissioners will have to take that up.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments here?
No, you answered all the questions I had, so thank you. Great presentation.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Lopez,
No questions. I respect the work that they're doing at the farm, so I support that.
Councilmember Williams.
You're, as usual, way ahead of me because my question was, would this let us reallocate some of the UGA? And that is actually, I think, really good news for our affordable housing efforts. The one question, you said that the county has to deal with, the indebtedness and everything. Can the county say no to this if we say yes?
No, there is no appeal of the council's actions on annexation or de-annexation.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
I wasn't totally clear on what you were saying by some of this reallocation is up to the county commissioners. So that to me feels.
Oh, no. Well, yes, the urban growth boundaries, the county makes the final decisions on our UGAs. So we do have to go through a process with them to request to reallocate to a different area. And there's some RCWs about reallocation. Swaps, I think, is kind of what they're calling it in the language of the RCWs.
So it's not just leaving it up to their whim on whether or not it would be. I mean, I understand that we have these other properties that potentially could come back in, but that part feels weird because then it's like, oh, well, we're just giving them 11.5 acres and maybe we'll get something back. So that's where I'm unclear.
If the county were to not grant, so we have a couple of areas that we've made an application to reallocate UGA already.
Okay.
We had the process. The county set that process before this de-annexation. So
It's going to stay within our
thanks, Michael.
UGA until we officially agree where the swap is going to happen.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you so
yes.
much. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you for finding my words, Michael.
Plus, aside from it being a lovely company, Hayshaker Farms, and a great asset to our community, keeping the land doesn't benefit College Place in any way.
Right.
Okay, Councilmember Boyle.
No questions. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments, further discussions? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing date of September 23rd, 2025 for the de-annexation of 328 Southwest 12th Street.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Sherman did a second for a motion of set a public hearing. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Next, Mr. McAndrews will present on efforts to obtain and design right-of-way for Majonia Road project.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think most of you are probably aware we've talked about our Majonia Road project many times. The city contracted with PBS Engineering to do design. They have since been acquired by Apex Engineering, same company, just different name. So Apex has been working with us and their sub-consultants, Universal Field Services, for right-of-way acquisition. PBS Apex had completed design. There's always final little tweaks and things that have to be made through right-of-way, but through the right-of-way process and the negotiations with property owners, there was a handful of adjustments for right-of-way documents, or what's the word I'm looking for? Essentially right-of-way documents and tweaks for that required some engineering changes. So the right-of-way acquisition has taken longer than anticipated, and thus Apex has exhausted their design funds and is requesting an amendment for an additional $49,258, bringing the total design up to $861,923.63. So we feel pretty confident this will get us through with the design. At the end of this week, I am told we will have one property left, which we will talk about next, I believe. And for right-of-way acquisition, that is, and then hopefully we'll be able to move forward on this project very soon. So I guess I'll open up to any questions.
All right. Councilmember Cleveland, questions, comments? No. Councilmember Peterson? No. Councilmember Lopez?
Done.
No questions. Councilmember Williams?
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman?
No question.
Councilmember Boyle?
No questions.
All right. If we have no questions or comments or any discussion, is there a motion to authorize?
Councilmember Williams, I will move to authorize Public Works Director or designee to approve and sign Washington State Department of Transportation Supplemental Agreement Number 05, increasing Apex design costs by $49,258, bringing the total design costs to $861,923.63.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor to authorize Public Works Director to approve and sign Washington State Department of Transportation. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Even though I know I'm supposed to read some of it from my understanding now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. And finally, Mr. Ferguson is going to close us out with efforts to obtain right-of-way for the Majonia Road project.
Great. Okay, so just to kind of refresh in case, and
get some folks' feet wet a little bit here. So essentially what we have tonight is an ordinance to do a few things. This is related to a condemnation, which is the kind of the specific term for the action of when government is able to use what we call eminent domain. It's a tool that one of the few things it's late and I won't drag us through all my nerdy constitutional stuff, but essentially it is enumerated in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment, which the portion that we're talking about specifically is talking about nor I'll just read the very end, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So that's the portion of the Fifth Amendment, which is pretty broad. It covers a lot of things, but that's the part we're really under. So that's kind of starting there and then kind of telescoping down here. Then we come down to the state, and the state does allow obviously the state government has eminent domain power, and they have specifically delegated that to cities and towns, counties, cities and towns, but specifically for cities under RCW 812. So there's some very specific requirements for use of eminent domain condemnation proceedings for cities in Washington State. So with that being said, how the process normally goes is when there is some kind oftentimes with projects specifically related to Majania Road project, there's lots of different property owners that would be involved in the actual acquisition of right of way to create the road. In this case, it's a road. So the public benefit or the public use would be a road in this case. So lots of different moving parts that have to take place to be able to acquire the right for the government to build the public facility on property, what would be formerly private property, but to make it public property. So that's essentially what the gist of it is. And so there's some very specific requirements that the city has to do if they run into a situation where a property owner, through other negotiations, what we use what we call a right-of-way agent, which is a gentleman by the name of Barry Bliss, who I speak to quite often down in Oregon, and he's done a fantastic job of really trying to acquire a lot of parts for this project, and it is truly and I'm going to be melodramatic when I say this, a Herculean effort to get this far. And we literally are down to one specific situation where negotiations have failed through this entire process. And we can enlighten you as much as you'd like to know about the particulars of this situation. But essentially what it's come down to is this one particular landowner who now has remained obstinate to going through this just compensation process, is now at the point where we've got really no time left, and it's really the only option is to move forward with condemnation proceedings to then go forward with that process. And I won't drag us all through the process, but the steps are essentially the notice that I asked you to approve about a month or so ago to notice this hearing or this consideration of this ordinance. They have to be specifically notified. They all were. The ordinance, it looks like a couple of the folks that the ordinance is going to authorize are no longer going to be needed. They've signed since then. Good news, but no big deal, because the ordinance, the way it's drafted, does several things. Just to kind of back up a little bit, the notice was the first big hoop that we had to jump through. Now we're considering the ordinance, and the ordinance will specifically, declare a public use and necessity. So in your legislative role, that's something that the legislature of the city has to do. So they'll declare a public use and necessity regarding the city of College Place use of eminent domain proceedings related to, and then specifically this Majania Road improvement project. And then finally authorizing condemnation and providing for an immediate effective date. And so and that's a little bit of a nuance. I'll get into that in just a second, but just to kind of drag you through the as quick as I can through the ordinance, because it is a little unique in this situation. So you'll see if you have a chance to pull that up in your materials there. But section 1 really is focusing on the whereases are really related to kind of the background of the need for how we got here, essentially. And again, we're happy to answer any questions that folks may have about that. But the legal description, the first one, section 1, the legal description really talks about these specific properties that we're asking you to authorize
to basically declare public use and necessity exists, A, and then B, authorize me as your city attorney to move forward with condemnation proceedings and and we'll follow up a little bit of that in a second. So the second thing there is section 2, public use and necessity. So the city council would be finding that through that public convenience, use, and necessity demand the acquisition of the real properties described in section 1, which are the 30 pages of exhibits that you'll see behind that. And then section 3 actually declares the condemnation that the real properties described in section 1 are hereby condemned and appropriated and taken for the purpose of section 2. So I won't drag us through that. Section 4 has to state, based on the statute, has to state that it comes either from the general fund of the city or it comes from a special assessment. This will not come from a special assessment. It's not like something that was voted and now it's earmarked for that particular thing. So we have to put that in there. Section 5 is where you're authorizing me as your city attorney to authorize to commence condemnation action to acquire the properties identified in the exhibits and to take such other actions and or implement such other administrative procedures as may be necessary to carry out the directives of this legislation. The city attorney is also authorized to enter stipulations for the purpose of minimizing damages, including all stipulations authorized by chapters 825 RCW. That's probably the most important part, because what that does is it gives, if this ordinance passes this evening, then what that will do is allow me as your city attorney to begin that process, file those documents, get that petition started, set a hearing to have a court declare that a public, obviously a road is going to be a public use, and then move forward with trying to get some stipulations for what we call immediate possession and use. And I know I'm throwing a lot of language at you and it's legalese, but essentially those are two critical parts where the court has to decide as a court decision that public use that it is a public use and that it's necessary for this particular project. That's kind of the easy one, right? I mean, a road, it's for the public. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? It's the portion of that becomes a little more important is what we call immediate possession and use. So one of the things that we don't have in Washington State that some other states, Oregon, and the state of Washington, when they do this, we do not have a requirement, or we don't have an ability to force people to, after we've gone through and proved that it will be for a public use, force them to give us immediate possession and use of the land, and then figure out what the just compensation is downrange, right? That's the hard part. That's a whole trial, and that can take years. So that's the only way projects get built most of the time, is because the cities or other governments are able to then get immediate possession of the property after they've proven it's for a public use. We'll figure out the money later, essentially, but that's the key part. And in Washington, unfortunately, we don't have any forceful lever to force people to do that, unlike Oregon or the state of Washington DOT. Obviously, they do that all the time. So what we have to do is we have to kind of rely on a statute, and that's what's referring to here is chapter 825 RCW is referring to a stipulation that we can make to allow, if they grant immediate possession and use, then they, at a trial, if they had to move forward with a trial and they exceed our final offer by 10%, they would get their attorney's fees. So that's a long-winded way to tell you it's a very powerful tool, because attorney's fees for these trials for just compensation can be quite high sometimes, and not giving that immediate possession and use that we would be asking for could cost someone their ability to get their attorney's fees at a trial 2 years from now. So that's really the biggest lever we have to go through here. You would be authorizing me to use all the tools that we have to try to acquire that immediate possession and use, so that Public Works can, Mr. McAndrews can go forward and get certified with WSDOT for this project, which is really a key factor now, because we're down to really the last nitty gritty here. So with that, I won't put us to sleep any longer, but any questions you have, happy to try to answer.
Thank you. Councilmember Cleveland.
I expect this is somewhere in the documents you provided, but what is the area, the total area that we're using eminent domain to obtain? And are you able to tell me what compensation we're providing for that, or?
Sure. Yeah. So it's all public information, but essentially, and I won't step on Mr. McAndrews because I know he's probably been a lot more involved with than me, but just since I've been involved with this particular remaining property, there's 4 properties, there's 4 exhibits attached to this ordinance. And that's okay that it sounds like a couple of them aren't going to be necessary, that they've signed some things, but We do not want to risk that at this point. And my recommendation is to go forward as packaged. We can always, you're authorizing me to accept stipulations. So it doesn't mean I have to run down and file against a case against someone who's already signed for this. But the one remaining one is the McKiernan property. It's exhibit B, or I think it's A, 3 and 4. Those are the ones that are specifically problematic. And essentially what it comes down to is this is a very large parcel, and this portion of the parcel is, sorry, I'm just trying to find it real quick here. There, yeah, A3, that's, yeah. So it is both A3 and A4. And essentially what this portion of the property, or this particular property, as WashDOT was going through this, and again, I'm gonna butcher this, so I'll let other people correct me where I get off track here. But essentially what happened is that the value that the appraisal, when it went through this process, it was determined that not only would there not be just compensation, but actually that it would be up to $1 million benefit to the parcel to have the road. So the parcel's value was going to increase because of the taking by the tune, up to the tune of about $1 million. So not surprisingly, because this is a WashDOT funded project, they were not inclined to want to give money to someone who's going to gain that type of benefit after having gone through that appraisal process. So with that being said, there was a lot of back and forth. Really what the pinch point is that the way that the property is currently being used is what's being asserted as the reason why they need to receive value, in separate and apart from the value that the road will create for potentially commercial development in this particular area. The real pinch point is, well, it's a farm. We like to use it, and we're going to use it the way we are now, and you're taking some of it. Therefore, you need to give us a portion of money for that. We thought we had a deal. We thought we had all this ironed out. We were ready to go, ready to have things signed. Some cold feet, it sounds like, took place. And now here we are stuck scrambling at the end, which is pretty unfortunate. But the offer, I think, was right around $50,000 that the city. Keep in mind, WashDOT was not going to be able to fund that because their appraisal says that this was going to be a gain in value. So we were going to have to find a way to fund that directly and get that approved through WashDOT. So that eventually didn't happen. Hopefully it still will. We're still trying to head in that direction. But without this lever, without being able to move forward, quite frankly, I don't think we're going to be able to get the kind of traction we need to do that. But
All right, thank you.
Is it the 0.079 acres that's on one of the pictures, that the size, like that's 3,400 square feet or the 6,700 square feet? Like what's the size?
I'm trying to find that. I don't recall the exact square footage or acreage. It's roughly 5 feet, I think, in width for several, for a long distance.
For the road, right?
Yes.
For the length of the road. And you're right, we did have an agreement. We have the documents drawn up at their request. And then they decided not to sign them.
The documents were at title for signature.
Right.
And the property owners backed out.
We had everything in place. And again, we were going to pay, even though we didn't have to, but we felt, okay, let's compensate them for it. And the title company was just waiting for them to go sign, and then they didn't. Which is why we're at this step.
And to be clear, the reason why the disparity in the values associated with, say, the WashDOT versus the value that the particular property owner thinks it's worth for what they're using for is because in condemnation proceedings, the value of just compensation is determined at its highest best use. So that's how a lot of people, ironically, try to increase the value of the just compensation. Ironically, in this situation, it's the opposite. The highest best use is something that the property owner doesn't want to use it for and wants a value that is disassociated with the highest and best use. So this is a new one for me. But Oh, and the
Councilmember-
final thing I do want to mention, sorry, and going on and on here, but final thing I want to mention that this is an emergency ordinance. You'll see at the very end that I've asked for it to, based on the findings of this ordinance, this is an immediate need to initiate an eminent domain proceedings to acquire the property. Section 1 to accommodate the emergency is declared, and the ordinance shall go into effect immediately upon final passage. And the reason for that is that should this pass this evening by a majority plus one of the body, so there's 7 of you, I need at least 5 votes for this particular ordinance. That could be stricken if we wanted to.
As you know, our votes are usually very tight.
That's right, right. So anyway, long and short of it is, yeah, we would need to get going on filing in Walla Walla County. We're trying to file this week.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez.
I'm curious, you said that that everything was ready, set to sign, but then I'm hearing that maybe there was a different value that they wanted. Do you know what that value was?
No, it was the agreed upon value. I'm not sure if you know more.
There was a lot of
but there was
things.
the agreed upon value. And then it was, as I understood it from just speaking with Barry right before I jumped in the car and came here, they showed up, took the documents with them and then never brought them back.
Okay.
Yeah, they showed up, took the documents with them, made a statement to the title company. They had a different idea. And then I think after we pressed them a little bit, they wanted us to provide documents committing to timeframes for 2 different projects and to abandon storm facilities in our public right of way that have nothing to do with the project.
So they want
And,
leverage.
and we said we can't do that. And so that's kind of how we got to where we are.
Great. Thank you. No further questions.
Councilmember Williams.
No questions, just a lot of sympathy for those who've worked. Every time I drive down Majonner since we decided on this project, I'm like, I really feel for the people that are working on the right of way issue. So
And we really are down to a timeline issue where
No, and to be clear,
It's a
we will
serious-
do everything we can. Obviously, negotiating and getting this resolved is the preferred route. But to be clear, there's no such thing as litigation light. So once we go, we go. So that's what you're voting for.
Yeah. But getting down to one property owner is a Herculean effort, as you said. So good job.
Councilmember Sherman,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Boyle.
No questions. Thanks.
All right, do we have Councilmember Peterson?
I make a motion to adopt an ordinance number 25-006, declaring public use a necessity regarding the use of eminent domain proceedings related to the Majonner Road Improvement Project, authorizing condemnation and providing for an immediate effective
Date.
Effective date. The word date was left off. Can you just add the word date?
effective date.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle, is that who second? Okay, Councilmember Boyle second. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you so much, Mr. Ferguson. All right, we have one administrative report this evening. Mr. Merritt will present to council on the certified local government grant application.
Mr. Merritt, we can't hear you.
Yes,
There, I can see him.
we can't hear you, Michael.
I unmuted. Can you hear me?
There you are.
Okay. All right. New laptop. Mayor, members of council, thank you so much. We applied for a certified local government grant, historic preservation, with the partnership of Walla Walla University to pursue a National Register district nomination for the university grounds. We met with them and their president on the 16th, and they voted enthusiastically to support the designation for us to pursue it on their behalf. And then we presented to the grants committee later in July, and we got confirmation earlier this month that we had received an $18,000 CLG grant for this fiscal year. You can see the copy of the application in there, and then an email from DAP letting us know that we had gotten the grant. However, we're just kind of in a holding pattern until DAP actually gets the money from the federal government. So whenever that happens, we'll be able to get started looking for a consultant and pursuing this project and our first historic place officially in the city of College Place. So
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for your work on that. Councilmember Cleveland, any questions, comments?
What are the funds going to be used for? The application mentioned like survey stuff. Are there other things that it'll be contributing towards?
most of it will go towards the professional services to prepare that nomination document. or
Okay, thank you.
package.
Councilmember Peterson? Councilmember Lopez?
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams?
Just congratulations.
Thank you. I'm batting 1,000. First grant application, first approval.
Wow.
Well,
That
here-
is
here-
impressive.
Yeah.
That is not my record on grant application.
We have never received a no on any of these CLG grants that we've applied for. Sorry, Michael, but
Councilmember Sherman?
It's if you're not hearing no, you're not asking enough people, I think is what that's how that
It's
goes
good,
for
it's good not to be the one that got the no, though,
Yeah,
right,
for
Mr.
sure.
Merritt?
Yeah, congratulations. I think this is awesome. I'm not able to open the letter that says that we were awarded the thing. So I would like to read that if that's at all possible to get that uploaded in a different format where we can click on.
oh yeah, it comes back as not readable.
Yeah.
It's basically just an email confirmation. We haven't actually received an official letter from DAP, so it's yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wait for the official. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Boyle?
No questions. Congratulations. Great job on this.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on, informational reports. There's 2 informational reports in your package, packet. If you have not reviewed them, please do. And now we are down to closing items. If any council member have any other business for good of the order? No? Okay, unfortunately I do. I know it's late, but I need it. I need to step away from the Valley Transit Board that I have been sitting on 6 years now. We are required to have 2 representatives of College Place. Councilmember Sherman has been on the board longer than I have, I believe. She's currently the chair, and I think this is her 2nd round as the chair, maybe more. Your 3rd round. However, with Mike's departure, I've been elevated, or I had to serve on to the BMAC board and the MPO board, which I am also the chair now, and I am also now on the finance committee of BMAC, taking over those seats. That puts me on 11 boards and committees. 5 of them representing College Place, actually 6 with the committees. I have my other jobs requirements, and then 2 for my own personal missions, but it's just too much. So I really need someone to consider stepping into taking my the available seat on our Valley Transit Board. It's obviously a very important board. It's very worthy, understanding the transportation needs of College Place and supporting the executive director, Angie Peters, in her endeavors to improve transportation here in Walla Walla County altogether. So I would just like for you all to consider, with the exception of Heather, Councilmember Williams?
I would just like to say that I am very interested in this and have had some time open up. So, but I would like to know more about, you know, meeting times and commitments to make sure it doesn't conflict with my other job.
Okay, how about we, send
Well,
you-
why don't we just tell her? Because then everyone else can hear.
okay, do you want to hear? Okay, well, I
Sure.
didn't hear it now since you all seem a little angsty in your seats.
Oh, no, I mean, we've all had Dr. Pepper, John shared with us.
Yeah, so it's,
Oh, wait, no, he didn't.
it's, once a month meetings, virtually or in person. Do you remember what date they're on? The third Thursdays? The third Thursdays of the month. 6:30. I'm doing pretty good here. Average
So
meeting, evenings, 6:30 PM. Average meeting lasts no more than an hour, I would say. I think we've had a record of maybe like 15 minutes, virtual or in person. In person's always fun, but you can attend either way. They send packets out ahead of time for review. And then it's just really providing any support and advice to the executive director and her staff as needed. It's not a complex board, but it's important one.
It's something that's near and dear to my heart, so I would be happy to do it. But if there are other volunteers, you know, we can wrestle or something.
Who's wrestling her for it?
Not this time.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Melody. That's great news.
Yes, thank you so much, Councilmember
Thank
Williams. Appreciate you doing that. So we'll take the next steps. City Clerk Garcia will work on getting that new appointment situated. I'm not sure what exactly the steps are, but it's an appointment that the city must sign off on. Not when I should find out how it works. And work with Ms. Peters on that. Thank you so much again.
Awesome.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. All right, any other business for good of the order? It's only 9:34. Might as well go to 10.
Like, come on, guys.
Okay, see, who needs sleep?
You sound like an auctioneer. Who do I hear 11? I would move we conclude.
All right,
I don't know. Why don't we just get a pizza and then party all night?
right. So Councilmember Williams had a motion to conclude the meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Boyle was a second. So if there's no objections, the meeting is concluded at 9:36 PM. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Have a good night.